Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for watching, thanks for tuning in. If you have not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, like the content, please hit that thumbs up. So today we're going to be working on this big rig. Let's get into it and I'll tell you what we're doing. So today we are going to be working on a 7.3 2000 Ford Excursion, and we're going to be replacing the front shocks. So let me show you why we're doing that. Not a real good picture. Let me try to get in here. Let's get it from this way. So here's the shock. Here's what we're working on here. So these things are really old. I tried to take these off a little while ago and the nut is basically welded on. I can't get it off, so we're gonna have to cut them off. But we'll get to that in a minute, so we'll be back. So here I got the shocks. Now, I did not realize that the truck had a 3-inch leveling kit in the front. These are factory stock shocks, which won't fit because they're too short. Now they only make, from what I can find, 2 shocks that will fit a 2-wheel drive Excursion with a lift. There's a Pro Comp and the Bilsteins. Well, I already have these shocks. I can't return them because, well, I've had them too long and they won't let me return them. So I got on YouTube and I got on some diesel forums. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this repair. So essentially, from what I've read, is you take a coupler and you screw this on here, and then you take this threaded rod, you screw this in here, and you add 3 inches basically from the top of this to the top of your other nut. So what I'm going to do is I'll put a jam nut on both sides of these instead of doing the set screw like I saw, and I'll add 3 inches so this washer and this will essentially set on top of this nut when I put it on here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to modify this. So I got to measure 3 inches from where this is going to set to basically offset this 3 inches up. And once I get that done, we'll be back. Okay, so I was going to use jam nuts on both sides here and here, and then I got to measuring and I can't. So to get a 3-inch difference between basically this point and this point, I can only use the coupler. And then to use the coupler, I have to cut and make from basically where this shaft is up 3/4 of an inch. So I get, or sorry, 7/8 of an inch. So I get 7/8 of an inch of the shock in this side of the coupler, and then 7/8 of an inch of the threaded rod into the coupler. And then that puts me between this edge and this edge where it's going to mount in the truck, right at or just over 3 inches of room. So then when I bolt this down, you know, it'll shrink a little bit, whatever, and give me 3 inches. And then, so basically I'm adding 3 inches to the top of the shock, so I get the shock travel to be where it is. So that's how I'm fixing this. This is definitely not approved or whatever, but this is the only way I can get this stock shock to fit on my 3-inch leveled kit front end. The correct way would be to order new shocks, but then I would just have these sitting around and not be able to do anything with them. So for the time being, this time around, this is how I'm going to fix it. Next time I'll order the correct shocks. But that's what I came up with, and this is how I'm going to fix it. So I'll be back in a minute when I get this done. All right, so we're back. We've got the truck in the shop now and getting ready to change out this shock. So we got to pull the inner fender lining out to get to this bolt that's way up in here. It's kind of a pain with the inner liner in, so we're going to go ahead and take the inner liner out and once I get that done, I'll be right back. All right, so I got the inner fender down, and to get to this bolt that's up here, and what I've ran into is the nut is spinning the shaft. So, and they didn't put a cutout in here to hold to get that nut off. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to do that. I've tried to use the wrench up on the top where the little cutouts, and it's just stripped because it's so rusted. So it's not looking good. It's looking like I'm basically going to have to cut this thing off. And if I look at the picture, as long as I cut it just below that washer or at that washer, it looks like I can just pop the top out. So I don't have much of another option except to maybe grind a flat spot in that shaft so I can put a wrench on it or get a better hold on it, because vice grips or whatever else is just spinning. So I'm going to see what I can figure out, and we'll be back. All right, so what I did was I ground two little flat spots, one on each side of the assembly there, so I could get my vice grips on there and hold, and success. So got the nut off, got the top off, so we're going to get the bottom of the shock out, and then get this one changed out. So that worked without cutting it off, so we'll be back when we get the shock out. All right, shock out. So as you can see, this shock doesn't really extend real good, so it's junk, and it's even bent. So we're going to install the new modified shock, and then once I get it up in place, I will be back. All right, so there we go. Bottom bolt's on, top bolt's in. What's nice about this is this one actually has a nut on here to keep it from spinning. So I was able to hold this nut to tighten this bolt. But as far as the shock, it's done. But this truck has had a ABS light on. So we scanned the computer and it was the left front. And I think we found out why. And this is why I hate people sometimes. So I don't know if you can see this rat's nest here, but something got into this and chewed this all up. So we just twist the wires together, bury it in electrical tape, and that's good. Not only that, but this plug, it's missing the plug. So this truck has ate this cable at some point in its life. So we got to get a new plug for this side to plug into this side and fix all this. So I'm going to take care of that while I'm in here, and before I put the tire and the inner fender and all that stuff back on. So that'll be the next thing. So I'm going to see if I can go get a part and get this taken care of before I get all this put back together, and we'll be right back. All right, so I already fixed this. I got a new plug. I wrapped this up before I turn the video on. So I got two heat shrinkable butt connectors on here, and then I just wrapped it in tape to help protect it. I did not wrap this one up yet, so I got rid of the rat's nest. You can see the butt connectors I used, heat shrinkable. So what I'll do is I'll finish wrapping them up to protect them, and then hopefully this will solve my problem, and we'll put the inner fender and the inner fender back on, put the tire on, and go to the next other side to work on that shock. So we'll be back in a second. All right, so as you can see, I got the wheel back on, inner fender's back on, shock's placed, ABS sensor's fixed, and so now on to the passenger side. So I'll get the tire off, and we'll see what we got going on over there. All right, so here we are on the passenger side. Figured you know how to take a wheel and an inner fender off, since we already did it on the other side, so I left you out on that. So we got the shock there. We got the same issue with the shock. It just spins and spins and spins and spins. So we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side, is we're going to file a little notch in there, and so I can hold on to it with the vice grips and take this thing off. So we'll be right back. All right, so just like the other side, that worked. So I got it off. So you can see I ground a little spot there and a little spot there. Got the vice grips on there, screwed this one right off. So this one is the same condition as the other one, pretty much shot. So we're going to go ahead and get the new one put on, and we'll be right back. All right, so as you can see, I got the new shock in. This side was a little bit more of a pain because of all this stuff up here. I actually had to put the rubber piece and the washer on as I, put the shock up in there, because I tried it the other way first and I couldn't get it past that harness and that air box that's there. So just to point that out, when you put this side on, before you mount this to this bottom hole, put all your stuff up here. That way you don't have to take it off like I did. So, but this side's done. I'm going to go ahead and put the inner fender wheel back on, put the shock or put the inner fender and the wheel back on, and we'll be done with this project and on to the next. So we will see you in a bit. Okay, so here we go. We got the tire back on, and getting ready to go take this thing out for a test drive. Pretty sure nothing's going to be wrong, but we'll see. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. So thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you've not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you like the video, like the content, please hit that thumbs up, and make sure you share. And we'll be back with the next one. Thank you.